Well, hello and welcome everybody to the new health conversation, including the censors on the community guidelines. We always tell you at the new health conversation that we only quote from peer-reviewed human trial studies. We don't give people opinions. We don't make claims. We don't do anything that's outrageous. We have nothing for sale. We're educators. We're providing free proof of what you can do to lose weight, but it's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Nothing is an opinion. So anytime that we're stating anything, it's backed by peer-reviewed studies, whether we're showing this new evidence of what has now been discovered or proof that the old way of doing things is probably not something people want to do. But I want to always understand that. Well, hello and welcome to everybody. Judy Ann and Soil and user 869. So what do you all think about that? I'd love for anybody to comment. It's real. She lost 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches in 30 days. No exercise was involved, and it was not about counting calories. This is a revolutionary new process. It's really a detox more than anything else. Don't let that scare you. It's all natural. But it was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world who had done 100 studies over 40 years and came to one conclusion. They never analyzed a diet, ever, that ever produced long-term weight loss. It never was, it was totally unsustainable. I have sort of a summary to just save time about what their comments are about things like, I got into a heated discussion with somebody yesterday telling me, well, of course, the way to lose weight is, eat clean and count your macros. When you see how pitiful that is with the medical proof, remember, we only give you medical proof. We do not give you opinions. If you want opinions, there's plenty of people on social media that will give you opinions. But if you're really serious about changing the rest of your life, because this becomes a nutritional system, it becomes a new sort of way of living. Okay, it's not radical, it's not crazy, it's just readjusting things. And the researchers who created this, like I said, they had 40 years of experience seeing pretty much every diet you could imagine. And none of them ever work long term, evidenced by the fact that we cannot keep up with the obesity numbers. They're expanding so rapidly. To give you an idea, right now they're projecting, well, in 1964, we had 15% of the population overweight. They're now projecting in 4.5 years, Johns Hopkins Medical School, that 86% of Americans will be overweight. They say 24 years from now, we're going to be, they believe 100% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. So obviously, whatever diet you're on doesn't work. It's worse than that. All the studies, I'm going to show you some of the evidence here in a moment, all the studies prove that 2/3 of you will gain more weight than you lost. And sadly, the weight you're losing is 25 to 40% of those pounds are your lean muscle mass, which is slowing down your metabolism and speeding up. Plus, the weight loss results on diets it's just so pitiful. It's pitiful. I'm gonna share all that with you in a moment. But also, I want to let y'all, be a little bit patient, just a little bit patient. I will explain exactly about this. In the meantime, you also have the option above our head there, the new health conversation. That's the website. Let me repeat that. The free website to go to is the new health conversation. And can we get some taps on that screen to get some likes going? Because this is going to be really startling, okay? So let's first talk about the massive failure of diets. Yesterday, like I said, someone got on and wanted to really argue with me about counting macros, how great that is, or diets in general. So let's look at this. This was from the researchers, okay, some of the researchers who wrote this. Why choose this protocol is called protein pacing and something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, I'll explain that to you in a moment. Nothing to do with fasting. And they said that the research was saying the scientific evidence leaves no room for debate. Traditional diets like macro counting or calories in, calories out, even in acclaimed forms like the Mediterranean diet, deliver paltry 4 to 10 pound losses over 3 to 6 months, while 25 to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle mass, which slows down your metabolism and slow down and the regain that fuels the obesity apocalypse. Intermittent nutritional fasting and protein fasting shatters this with 6 to 9% of reductions in 6 to 9% increase in lean muscle mass, no loss of muscle mass at all. They said, given the choice, opting for anything less than protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting, which is evidence-based, backed by superior path to a meaningful, lasting change against mankind's biggest threat, which is obesity. So the experts, well, you tell me, they're talking about are there uh, uh, count your macros or in a traditional diet, they're saying that you lose 4 to 10 pounds over 3 to 6 months. Well, she didn't get the memo. She lost 21 pounds in 30 days with no exercise and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. There's no comparison between any diet and this because it's not a diet. I want you all to understand that. I'm going to explain to you why it's different, why is it so unique, and why you should be interested in maybe hanging around a little bit to learn about this. Because whatever diet you think you're on now, two-thirds you're going to weigh more than what you did when you started. That's just the medical evidence. We have people like Harvard Medical School, Stop Counting Calories. Another big study over here that's titled, let me find it here, hold on. Oh, here it is. Why you shouldn't count calories. Listen to what they said. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse is two-thirds of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. I'm not making this up, everybody. This is the medical proof. Two-thirds of whatever diet you're on right now, I don't care what the name of it is, you're going to gain more weight than you lost. We're losing the battle against obesity. More and more and more people are becoming obese. I mean, they're saying in 4.5 years, 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese, and about 42%, they estimate, of the 86% are going to be obese. This is unsustainable. And by the way, about a third of those are pre-diabetic now. And yet you're going into this blindly. You're going on these diets. And they're nice people. I see these influencers. They don't have one shred of medical evidence. This, what I'm talking about, this protocol, is published now in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Do you understand how significant that is? It's not like one journal looked at it and said, oh, this is really great. 10. This is going to change the world. I mean, any of you can't do this on diets. According to the researchers, they're saying you lose 4 to 10 pounds in 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months. And half of what you lost in a month. I know it probably you're skeptical. I understand that. But we're giving you free medical website to go to and see the medical proof. There's nothing on that website to buy. But if you do go there and you like what you see free coaching, you can scroll down, you get a free coach. We were coached. We want to bring this to the world. Listen, the experts are saying that obesity is the greatest threat to mankind. Bigger than COVID, bigger than anything. You have, they estimate 1 billion people worldwide clinically obese. You think the system's going to be able to handle that? Because we know, according to Harvard Medical School, that obesity leads to about 40 known diseases. It has nothing to do with fat shaming or feel good in your body or whatever. The medical realities now are coming home. We've got to do something different. And I understand let's say you had 50 pounds to lose, how excited are you going to be about losing 4 pounds in 3 to 6 months? 10 pounds, even 10 pounds in 3 to 6 months. No wonder you can't stay on these diets. No wonder you become frustrated. I mean, we got even Medicare. Medicare's saying, Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers reviewed long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. I would just ask all of you, what are you doing? You're going on diets where they're telling you. The research, the medical studies showed that after 3 to 6 months, people losing 4 to 10 pounds. She lost 21 pounds in a month. So according to this, to lose 20 pounds, it would take you a year. And we have other studies proving that when they analyzed all the diets in a big study, I'll show you later, the average weight loss in a year was about 16 pounds in a year. She lost 20 pounds in a month. Oh, how about Julie here, everybody? Look at this. How about 35 pounds in 37 days? Look at how much her body shrank, everybody. You think this is fake? It's real. And then my friend's daughter, how about 60 pounds in 3 months? According to this, if it takes you 6 months to lose 10 pounds, You understand why someone like her is never going to be successful on any diet you could ever be on. It's not her fault. It's the darn wrong approach. It doesn't work. And 25 to 40% of what you lose on any of these diets is lean muscle mass. Not because I said so, because of the research, for crying out loud. You can change your whole life starting today. Step one would be go to the website, look at the medical proof. There's nothing there to buy, and we won't even contact you if you go there. Why wouldn't you do that? Do you believe here's the medical proof. The studies, 4 to 10 pounds or 2 to 5 kilos for my friends in the other parts of the world, 2 to 5 kilos in 3 to 6 months. Those are the numbers from the medical studies. This isn't hype. I have nothing against diets, except they suck and they don't work. And you're all being hoodwinked. You're all being, so let's talk about now. How in the world did they do this? Well, who invented it? The top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, who had done 100 studies on human beings, called peer-reviewed studies, over 40 years. Guess what they concluded? Never did they find a diet in 40 years and 100 studies that ever had people lose weight long-term, and 2/3 of the people gained more weight than they lost. So they said, enough. They abandoned calorie counting and said, we're going to invent something new. It sounds simple in concept. They said the goal would be to give you less food, but find new foods where the only criteria was more nutrition. Okay? So they put together a grocery list that you would actually get a grocery list you would take to the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, vegetables, and even salad dressings. Nothing to do with calorie amounts. Nothing. They don't want you counting calories anymore. Those foods you'd have would be based on serving sizes, okay? Like protein, how many ounces? Like if it's a vegetable, it's a third or half a cup or full cup, whatever. It's all laid out for you. But don't get nervous about serving sizes, because we've all been misled. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I'd love for anybody to put in, anybody on here, give me the medical definition. What's a calorie? I didn't know what it was 24 years ago. In a year, I've had 9 people actually give me the definition. And a couple of them have been in my lectures before, to be quite honest, but I still let it slide. Look, we're the researchers of the researchers. We didn't invent this. There's no products to buy here. There are no products. So they put together that food list where only 30% of what you ate actually came from the... No, they're not, Lexi. They're the same people. Sorry. They're the same people. I know you think that. And I'm going over it right now, Genovac. What's the something new? I'm doing that right now, Dioge, okay? Jacqueline and Lorraine. Okay, so what the researchers did was this. They picked out foods for their nutritional content, but only 30% of what you'd eat in a month on this protocol. Now, here's what made it different. Here's what you can't duplicate in the United States. I don't even go to the farmer's market. The researchers, who have no products to sell, don't have a company. We don't have a company. We don't sell anything to you. But they found other researchers that for 20 years had gone to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods that had huge amounts of nutrition, no herbicides, no pesticides. So 70% of what she was going to buy or consume in a month came from these exotic foods around the world. You're not going to duplicate this at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or Sprouts, where I do shop. And I do eat organic, but not because it's significantly better in terms of nutrition. In 200 studies, they prove that, by the way. So now the researchers had these different food groups, right? Then here's what changed. They invented 2 new ways for us to eat, at least until you lose your weight. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. It's called protein pacing. Her day started, breakfast, from these exotic foods around the world that these researchers have called the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint, which is the only thing you should care about. Lunch from the grocery store list that you would get, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. That's 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, and this will spin all of you out of control. She did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. And on those 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store. And it wasn't fasting. It's not water fasting. It's not time-restricted eating. This was fasting with nutrition based on the fact she only consumed these exotic foods around the world that represented tiny amounts of food but huge amounts of nutrition. Well, what happened, like diabetics, for example, no one had insulin spikes. People weighing 300 pounds weren't hungry. You've got to get across this point. When you're hungry, it has nothing to do with calories. The only thing your body can measure is nutrition, period, end of the story. So what also happened after a month, people's hunger went down 41% in a month. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all came down dramatically in a month. We had diabetics on this. The need for insulin, which is what a diabetic measures, right? It came down 41% in a month, and the people on meds, their doctors had to cut their meds by 50% just in 30 days. Another huge thing that they did, and this is the real reason to do this. Everybody on here is suffering from this syndrome, whether you know what I call it, TDOS. T for toxicity, D for nutrition deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office of a new medical condition. Oh, Peter Greenlaw, oh, that happens to me. I did discover it. That doesn't matter. We're all storing, whether you know it or not, you're breathing, drinking, eating chemicals as they enter your body. The body, to protect us, takes the chemical and stuffs it in what's called your visceral fat. Your visceral fat is the fat around your organs. That's why you all complain not just about the weight, but how much fat you have in your body. So your body is literally protecting us by storing the chemicals in the fat cells and causing the fat cells to expand. Don't let anybody tell you that you burn fat on any diet or exercise program. That's a bunch of nonsense. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and in between they can expand or contract. Well, they proved in these studies, they did blood, stool, urine, fat, and muscle analysis, and proved that this was removing or helping the body remove herbicides and pesticides and all the chemicals we're storing inside of our bodies. You don't have to believe me. The medical research is there. My God, a month ago they came out and said they're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Wake up, America. Wake up around the world. This is a detox, first and foremost, with this tremendous side benefit of this weight loss that's sustainable, because the other critically important part about this is maintenance. This picture's 8 or 9 years old. She lost the weight. She's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. Hell, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. This is sustainable weight loss for the first time ever in history. And you can all go see the medical proof. There's nothing to buy on the website, right there, the New Health Conversation. And any of my skeptics, I'm happy to join a conversation. I understand this is so far out of the box for most of us, including me. When I did this, I thought, this isn't going to work. How can 4 meals a day? And I said, okay, I'll try anything. And I did. Thank God. I mean, I lost 8 pounds in 4 days, 12 pounds in 9 days, 20 pounds in 18 days, 30 pounds in 30 days, 40 pounds in 7 weeks. And I've kept it off for 23 years. Look, just because you're suspicious or just because you're skeptical, when we're talking about the 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world publishing this miracle, that's what they're calling it. It's irrefutable medical evidence. There's no let's argue about it. Let's have a discussion about, calories in, calories out, or count your macros or whatever you're on. I'm not trying to be mean, but the evidence, the science behind, big study, the science behind why diets don't work. Our researchers viewed more than 30 long-term studies on all forms of dieting, and they found that dieting actually causes weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does dieting not work for the long-term weight loss, but it's also associated with increased risk of binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. You're on diets right now. This may make you mad, I understand. But you're going to gain weight. Do whatever you want to do. There's no way these obesity numbers keep increasing. We have more diets than ever. It's not like it's slowing down, it's getting worse. In 4.5 years, nearly 90% of Americans will be overweight and obese. Does that sound to you like diets are working? Go to Barnes & Noble and look at how many titles there are. No, these researchers, they did 100 studies, 40 years, and they finally said, forget it. We can't find a diet where people can lose weight long term, and the weight they are losing is in the most unhealthy. 25 to 40% of what you're losing on these diets is your lean muscle mass, slowing down your metabolism. That's why you gain all the weight back. But it also slows down your own immune system. This is crazy. And what are you all going to do after this? You're all going to go back to... Why? Are you not open to science? Are you not open to the fact that they found the breakthrough and it's published in 10 medical journals saying, yes, it's safe, yes, it's real, yes, this will make all diets obsolete? You can see this. I'll show you the website, everybody, so you don't think I'm lying to you. Type in the website's called The New Health Conversation. Don't you think we need one? Type that in, go to Google, it'll come right up. There it is. And there's the website. There's nothing to buy on the website. There's no buy buttons. But number one is an exclusive podcast with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. That's not me. And they've done 40, he'll say, we'll never recommend a traditional diet to anyone ever again after this new breakthrough. Yes, they created it, but they have no products, so they have no dog in the hunt other than the scientific privilege and recognition that they solved the obesity epidemic. Most of you, we're also ingrained in this calories in, calories out thing. It doesn't work. Do you get it? Do you all understand it? And don't tell me about counting macros. Again, the analysis, counting macros, wow, what great weight loss. After 3 to 6 months, they lost 4 to 10 pounds. Even if that was in 3 months, is that a joke? Compared to this? Or compared to this? 35 pounds in 37 days? Or how about an older person? They're not supposed to be able to lose weight, right? Curtis, how about 40.8 pounds and 52.5 inches in 30 days, everybody? You can think it's a different person. You can think it's Photoshop. You can think we're lying. We're nutritional researchers. I've written 4 best-selling books. I've appeared 20 times on public broadcasting. You think you get on there if you're lying to people? It doesn't work that way. I've spoken in universities and hospitals and towns. They even flew me to China. But I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to say, this is your salvation. This is the solve. This is the proof. But has anyone ever seen anything? Look at his stomach, how much it went down in 30 days with no exercise. And then look at his blood work, everybody. Lab work. A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. But what I'd love for anybody to comment. People never comment. I don't know why you're not commenting. I'm a really nice person. I'm not going to get mad. You can disagree with me, but you're disagreeing with science. So the science on one hand is saying macro counting, calorie counting, 4 to 10 pounds in 3 to 6 months versus 40 pounds in a month. And all these studies say that right here, right in the 25 to 40% of what people lost was lean muscle mass. I mean, what are we doing? This could change your life. It could change your life. And it's as simple as you can go to the website. It's right there, the New Health Conversation. I mean, I should show you. We started out. She dropped 5 pounds a week and counted no calories. She dropped 5 pounds a week and again, no calories. And the day 1 to day 30 is 21 pounds and about 38 inches. Well, look at her hips and her stomach, everybody. I mean, you think we photoshopped that? You think it's a different woman? You think we're faking out? No. This is the one they always say, oh, it's a different woman. No, it's my friend's daughter. We're not going to. I mean, I guess you could be that skeptical and think, well, we put a different woman in there in the same dress. That was 60 pounds in 3 months, and she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. Who would like to? Okay, so what is the answer? Please share. Lorraine. Kiddo, so what is she eating? Okay, Slarty Bartfast. Okay, Bartfast, maybe. Okay, so let me explain again what they all did, right? Let's start with her because that's more normal. 5 pounds, but I'm going to tell you right now, the averages are 5 pounds a week. They're talking about on a typical diet to lose 4 pounds, you're looking at 3 months. She's losing 5 pounds a week. I know this sounds preposterous to all of you, but how did they do it? Well, here's how. The researchers who created this are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the entire world. They'd done 100 studies for 40 years on every form of diet you can imagine, and they came to one conclusion. They could never find a diet where people lost weight and kept it off. Sadly, 2/3 of the people on all these diets over 40 years gained more weight than they lost. We're getting bigger as a society. Wake up. You think diets are working? I mean, we're at 80% overweight today. 80% of Americans overweight, 50% obese, 50% pre-diabetic. 50% of the 80%, I should say, are obese. You think, does that sound to you like diets are working? What do? We create more diets. The same thing. It's calories in, calories out. 10,000 steps, diet and exercise. None of it's working. It's a disaster. John Hopkins Medical School calls it an apocalypse. I get that study here. Here it is. Study predicts obesity apocalypse. John Hopkins Medical School. By 2030, 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese. By 2048, all American adults will become overweight or obese if the current trend continues. Does that sound like diets are working to any of you? The researchers said, the hell with that. We're abandoning calorie count and we got to do something radically different. Here's what they did. They said, we're going to go find foods where we think we can give you less food, but these foods contain more nutrition. We'll pick them out for you. 30% of them you're going to buy at your grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits and vegetables, and salad dressing. You actually get a physical list that the researchers created that they used in these huge, the medical trials on human beings. But only 30% of the food you're going to get. Now, here's what made it work. And you can't replicate this at your local grocery store. These researchers found other researchers who for 20 years had gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts of quantity. This was their whole premise. Could we give you less food but more nutrition? Okay? And they created a nutritional system because it wasn't just what you were going to ingest. It was then a completely new way of, let's call it pacing. It's called protein pacing. So 5 days a week, you, her, whatever, you'd have 4 meals a day. You'd start with these exotic foods from around the world. No food from the grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods from around the world. That's 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, you do something called intermittent. Now, don't spin out when I tell you this. Intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. It's fasting with nutrition. Now, how they did it, no food from the grocery store at all. Only these exotic foods around the world, but this time you'd be eating 8 times a day. You're eating every hour and a half to 2 hours. Do you know diabetics on this? No insulin spikes. People weighing 300 and 400 pounds don't look. 300 to 400 pounds they weren't hungry. And they proved in a month people's hunger had gone down 41% in 30 days. They dropped blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides. These results have never been seen they did the analysis for 40 years, 100 studies, thousands and thousands of people on every diet you can imagine. They never saw results like this. But the other 2 huge things that they did, because they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, and proved that this protocol was a detox. They measured, it was removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and what are called PCBs from the body. That's why you look at her stomach on day 1 and look at her stomach on 30. What happened there? No exercise allowed. They weren't allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Well, first of all, she lost no water weight and she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Let me explain that to you. Again, let me repeat it. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. We're on diets. I read to you before these now 25 to 40% of the weight you're losing on any diet is your lean muscle mass. So now you have a choice. How about losing 4 pounds in 3 to 6 months versus losing 25 pounds a week? I don't make these things up. Those are the actual medical studies. And here they are, here published these studies, her studies, what happened to her and everybody else in 10 peer-reviewed human trial in the biggest medical journals in the world. This is not my opinion. I'm not selling you. There's no products to buy. You're buying food, none of it from us. 30% of what you buy is from the grocery store and 70% from these exotic foods that you can't buy at your grocery store. That's why this is so effective. Yes, fasting with nutrition. Exactly. Yeah. So who else? No, not here, dear God. What is it? You know what it is? It could save your life. It's very serious. Cheryl Harris, I give up. Give up what? Cheryl, I don't understand. Lorraine, so tell us. Didn't I just explain it to all of you? Lorraine, did you? Because the scrolling's not happening fast enough. Slarty, I just told you. It's called protein pacing, where it's a combination of 30% of the food you're going to buy from the grocery store, okay? And 70% of the food you're going to consume comes from these sources around the world. And what do you mean? I just went over it. 5 days a week, you're having 4 meals a day. Okay? Did you hear that? 4 meals a day. You start with these exotic foods from around the world. That's breakfast. Lunch. You get a list. You get a grocery list. You have a schedule of when you're eating, what you're eating, etc. It's all laid out. How am I not telling you what it is when I'm telling you what it is? Okay? So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. Start with the exotic foods around the world, end with and in between lunch and dinner with regular food. Picked by the researchers, by the way, not by us, right? Then the other 70%, the other 2 days a week, you're doing something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not water fasting, not time restricted eating, not fasting. On those days, no food from the grocery store and only these exotic foods around the world, but they ate 8 times a day, or she ate 8 times a day, every hour and a half to 2 hours. They measured, she lost no lean muscle. Do you know on any water fast, on any fast, the main thing they lose is lean muscle mass? That's why the nutritional fasting is so different and so important. But also, Saltry, or Miss Harris, or whoever, this protocol, it's been published, it's been vetted in the 10 biggest medical journals in the world. I'm not making anything up. And I'm happy to be more explicit, but that's what it is. It's 30% of the food from your grocery store, you get a grocery list. It's 70% from these exotic foods around the world. And then how it's you going to consume it, in what amounts, over what period of time. We give you, talk about not telling you what it is. This is what the researchers put together. It's called the Blueprint for Success. Each one of these yellows is what you do on a daily basis. It's a video from the researchers who have no products to sell. But they're scientists who developed this, and they spent 40 years trying to be the people to find this solution for obesity. They found it, and it's published in the 10 biggest medical. It's like a done deal, because when you're in these big medical journals, it's irrefutable medical evidence. It's already been scrutinized by the top medical doctors and nutritional researchers in the whole darn world. That's why it's such a big deal. This is not a diet. This becomes a way of life. Oh, I didn't even tell everybody the best part. Maintenance. Listen, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. How simple is maintenance? Breakfast, I had it this morning, these exotic foods around the world. I'm going to have lunch in a little while, dinner tonight, and then every couple months I'll do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast because I want to detox. See, even water fasts they haven't produced a gram of toxin leaving the body. Never. That's why you need to nutritionally fast. You need to be able to have tiny amounts of food, but you have to have enough nutrition that your brain doesn't go in starvation mode. And then when that happens, it's using your muscles for fuel, which we know on every diet except this, and this is not a diet. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. You can see the change in her body composition. That's not Photoshop. That's without any exercise. Look at her hips, her waist, her stomach, her abdomen. I understand you're all skeptical. I support you in that. No, Slaughter, it's not exotic fruits, okay? Let me explain something to you again. From your grocery store, you would get a list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, okay? The exotic nutrients from around the world, how can I explain it to you? You're not getting exotic fruits, okay? Let's just talk about that. You're getting exotic nutrients. And some of the nutrients, Saltry, come from the blue zones, the areas in the world where people are living to be 100 years old. So some of this you're going to drink either as a tea, or maybe as a soup, or just take the nutrients independently. That's what these people are doing to live to be 100 years old. It's a completely new way of eating. And it's totally based on the amount of nutrition that you have, nothing to do with the quantity of food, and certainly nothing to do with counting calories. So again, 30% of what you're going to buy in a month, you get a grocery list: proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. And these exotic nutrients and foods from around the world come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. But you have to understand that some of these nutrients in these foods don't exist in North America. So it's not like you can do an equivalent here. I hope that makes sense, Saltry, okay? You don't, because they already got them for you. That's what these researchers did. They went to Russia and Mongolia and to Tibet, Nepal, South America, New Zealand, to find this stuff that people were taking that were, in blue zones that were living, all I know is if I can put 10% of what I eat from blue zone, I'm doing it. Just that simple. Great question though, right? So B, you have to understand, for all of you, If you go to the new health conversation, the only thing there is the medical proof. But if you want, you get a free coach. Once you've looked at the medical proof, right? That coach, they'll get you your grocery list to take to the grocery store. They'll supply you with this blueprint, which is exactly what you're going to be doing every single day, the amounts and when. It's very specific. This is not some diet. It's not some meal plan. It's not some bunch of recipes. Totally different. But again, any of you, if that's not fake, you have to understand, I've got the studies here. We're on, whether it's, someone yesterday was telling me about how great it is to count macros. Well, counting macros produces over 3 to 6 months, 4 pounds of weight loss. She lost 5 pounds a week. So you can, again, do whatever you want to do. We're not here to argue with you. We're not here to convince you. We don't have any product. We don't sell anything. And we're coaching. We got coached. Understand, any of you never done anything like this before, unless you've ever produced 5 pounds of weight loss per week. And then look at someone like my friend's daughter, 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months to lose 60 pounds. That's not photoshopped. That's my friend's daughter. A lot of people say, oh, it's a different woman. They got to, no, we didn't. I mean, really, I wouldn't be that dumb to do something like that, to be quite honest with you. And I might be dumb, but I'm not stupid, right? Show Peter some love, tap your screen. Well, show Peter some love, tap your screen. What is the cost and do you repeat? H. Durango, it's called the race to maintenance. So whether you repeat it or not would depend on whether, we have people that need to lose 150 pounds. They're obviously not done in 30 days. Best way I can answer it for you, if you took whatever you spent on food for the last month, take 30% of that you're going to spend at the grocery store, and the other 70% that's left over pretty much covers depending on what your total food budget is, but if it doesn't cover it all, maybe it costs you another $25 a week at most, but look at the results. Where are you going to get those results? Any of you? I'd love for you to tell me. Where would you get those kind of results? Oh, the other thing I should tell you, it's pretty cool. So 70% of what you're going to spend, I want you to listen to me carefully. Those researchers, if it doesn't work or you're unhappy, 100% money back guarantee. 100% money back guarantee. Because we don't sell anything, but they'll give you all your money back. How could you not be curious about this, all of you? And we've got 548 likes. Come on, let's get some more taps on the screen. Let's get some more input here from all of you. So Slarty, did I? And if I'm mispronouncing your name, please forgive me. I'm not doing it on purpose, but I think it's Slarty, as far as I can say. Bart Fast, if I'm correct, right? Bart Fast, okay. I want to make sure I answered your question. But really, Bart Fast, let me show you the website so you'll understand, everybody. If you want to see the website, the actual medical proof, go to the New Health Conversation. And what I'm going to show you there is what you probably will want to see. Go to the New Health Conversation. We all can see it. Scroll down. The first thing you're going to see is a podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. Number 2 is a video with a little more explanation about what they did daily. But look at number 3, the peer-reviewed medical studies. You click and it takes you to the obesity journal or to the nutrition journal, or all where these studies are all published. We're totally transparent. I'd love Salty or anybody else. Slarty, sorry. I'd like for any of you to put in the chat, show me anyone on social media, I'm open to being wrong, that's showing you one peer-reviewed human trial study, and yet you're all following them. Things like time-restricted eating, where they don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8. It's just total nonsense. I mean, they did a huge study on that time-restricted eating thing. I know I've got it here somewhere. I'll find it. I promise I'll find it. Now I'm determined to find it. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. This is published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. See, this is the difference between giving people opinions and giving people scientific proof. We're nutritional researchers, so we bring you the real research. Nothing that I'm sharing with you is my opinion. I don't want you to believe me. Why would you believe me? We rely totally on science. So let's look at the real results on time-restricted eating over 3 months in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Journal of the American Medical Association, new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast for 16 hours daily over 3 months gained almost no benefit from it. Over the course of 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and most of the weight they shed was lean muscle mass. Well, they're telling you that most of what you lose is fat. Well, number one, that's a lie, because you don't lose fat out of your body. It can shrink or expand. Nice person, looks like a nice person, but we rely on medical facts. We don't give you, if you want opinions, that's why on here, I mean, I appreciate input, but honestly, unless you can show me a peer-reviewed human trial study, forget it. Now, see, this study is in line with what I started out today when I was saying that I got into a big discussion yesterday with someone telling me about counting your macros and how great that was. Well, this is a compilation of study after study after study. The average weight loss, whether it's on count your macros or just calories in, calories out, is 4 to 10 pounds over 3 to 6 months. Well, that pretty much proves it right there. Intermittent time restricted eating, they lost 2.5 to 3 pounds over 3 months. So it pretty much is in line with what they're finding. All these diets are about the same. Now, you don't have to believe me, but let's go to the science again. Here's a huge study in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Title, Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs. They looked at 48 unique randomized trials, 7,286 people, 12 months. Do you know what the weight loss difference was between, say, well, they named all the diets. Paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time restricted eating, fasting, Cornish zone, lose weight for your blood type, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem. So when they compared the most amount of weight loss in a year to the least amount of weight loss in a year, you know what it was? 10 ounces. And you know what the weight loss was in a year? 16 pounds, which would pretty much be in line with what I told, because they're projecting that it takes you about, in this case, up to 6 months to lose 10 pounds. So they did a little bit worse than that. That's what you're all doing. You're doing something that's going to cause you, you're going to at least gain all your weight back or more. Now, again, I want to state another study, and then I'll come back and for the new people coming on and explain again about this. So here's another big study on calorie counting, okay? It's a landmark study, meta-analysis by Tracy Mann and her colleagues, published in American Psychologist, where they reviewed 31 long-term studies on calorie-restricted diets and exposed to harsh truth. At least 2/3 of dieters end up regaining more weight than they initially lost. The figure is likely an underestimate due to study limitations such as high dropout rates, as dropouts often regain the most, and self-reported data. Wait till you hear this. The analysis concluded that dieting itself predicts future weight gain. The lie persists because short-term results are hyped, while long-term result failures, 80 to 95% regain rates, are downplayed, perpetuating the yo-yo cycling that harms metabolism and health. This is not my opinion. This is one of the top weight loss researchers in the world, Tracy Mann. You can look her up. She was at UCLA, now she's at the University of Minnesota. I mean, if it offends you that I'm sharing information, I'm sorry. And it probably goes against whatever. See, here's the problem. Everything we've been taught about diet, exercise, nutrition now is totally wrong. Totally wrong. When you got people like Harvard Medical School, I've got it here somewhere. Yeah. Sorry, I'll find it. I have too many things on my agenda here. I'll find it. Just be patient here, everybody. Hold on one second. Oh, of course, it was right at the bottom. Harvard Medical School stopped counting calories. We've been taught, that's what they're saying. We've been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500 and you lose about a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's exactly what these researchers did, and they have nothing to do with Harvard Medical School. Look, the evidence, the scientific evidence says we've lost the battle on obesity. So whatever we've done up to this point just has not worked. These researchers who created this took 40 years to figure it out. And at the end of the day, it came down to a really couple simple principles. One, if we could find food that had the most nutrition, that was your gateway to losing weight and being healthy. That's a simple way of saying it. But that's really what they did. They said, we're going to go find foods to give to people, and we're going to do this massive study on people and see what would happen if we gave people less food, but the foods we gave them had more nutrition. So that's why 30% of what you would consume on this, you'd buy from the grocery store. So anybody asks me, what is it? I'm explaining it to you right now. So 30% of what you would ingest, the researchers picked out those foods, but not by calorie amounts, by serving sizes. Very important. What were the foods they picked out for you that you'd buy at your grocery store? Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Got it? And salad dressings. But they're serving sizes that you would consume. And don't think you're going to be hungry, because, see, the problem we're facing, we've been so indoctrinated with calories. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. As a matter of fact, I will promise you, I didn't know what a calorie was 24 years ago. I've had 9 people in a year out of 1,000 of my podcasts ever give me the definition of a calorie. So I know you probably don't know what a calorie is, and yet you're counting them. I'd love for anybody to put in the chat, if you think you know what a calorie is, go for it. So the researchers said it's silly to base any more weight loss on counting calories. So they said, we're going to do this. We're going to find foods with high levels of nutrition, and we can give you less food, but we're giving you the amount of nutrition. See, what happens on a diet, when you drop the amount of food you're consuming, you're dropping the amount of nutrition. What does the brain do? It goes, wait a minute. There's not enough fuel to run the brain, the heart, the kidney, the liver, the lungs. All our organs don't run on calories, everybody. Our organs run on what? Nutrition. So it wasn't that much of a stretch to say, wait a minute. We can never be in a position where we drop below the minimum amount of nutrition that the body needs, because it will trigger the starvation mode. And in starvation mode, you burn lean muscle. The proof is in 25 to 40% of what you're losing on any of these diets is your lean muscle mass. That's why you end up with all that loose skin. I mean, look at her. Let me show you Mary. 200 pounds in a year. Where's the loose skin? You think this is a diet? You think this is counting macros? You think this is calories in, calories out? You think this is keto, paleo, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, where you're losing 2.5 to 3 pounds in 3 months? I mean, she'd be 100 years old before she ever lost the weight. And she's going to stay on a diet for 20 years? I don't think so. Thank goodness this saved her life. Now, you can think it's photoshopped. You can, whatever the heck you want. I don't care. I mean, I do care, because it's really unfortunate that you let your skepticism prevent you from... Because here's the thing. Are you willing to take the chance, based on your opinion, that this is not real? Are you willing to take that chance? Because if it's real, what all the researchers said in conclusion to that one study, they said at the end, given the choice, well, they said, given the choice between any form of traditional diet, based on the data, compared to protein pacing, intermittent fasting, it's just ridiculous, basically. That's what they're kind of saying. I mean, you've got a choice. You can go on a diet, and according to the numbers, 3 months to lose 4 pounds versus 5 pounds a day. So are you willing to take the chance this isn't real for any of you? Because again, I want you all to understand, you can go to that website, The New Health Conversation, The New Health Conversation, and see the medical proof. And can we get some more taps on the screen? We're only at 685. Come on, let's get some more taps. If you like the content, if you don't like it, we got a lot of nice people in here. Sunny Life and Charles and Caroline and Inez and Ms. Jax and Lisa and Vision, ACTU, Laura. But again, I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, because I don't know who's coming on, who's jumping off, who's heard, who haven't. Are any of the new people that are on here? I'm happy to explain what they did, how it works, etc. And you don't buy anything from us, and there's no products. Did you all hear me? There are no products. It's based on food and 2 completely new ways of eating that could change the rest of your life. Or you can keep doing what you're doing now. You can lose weight on a diet and gain back more weight than you lost. Because that's what all the medical proof is saying right now. That going on diets by counting calories is one of the most ridiculous things that we've ever come up with. I mean, they're saying on diets that in 3 months you're going to lose about 4 pounds, maybe 10 at the most. In 3 months, she lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. I mean, she lost 5 pounds a week, so you do the math. So would anybody like me to explain? Have you been on long enough? Either you heard me explain it, or you'd like me to explain it, or you'd like me to go away, or whatever. It's okay. I've seen it all, trust me. But who else would like to ask me a question? Kelly, you're all as shy, or you don't want to know? You don't want to know how she did that? How about Julie, everybody? How about 35 pounds in 37 days with no exercise? Look at how much her body shrank, everybody. Or this is the good one. And people tell me it's a different woman. Really? It's not. It's the same person. 60 pounds in 3 months. 60 pounds in 3 months. It's the daughter of a friend of mine. I'm not going to Photoshop the pictures. I mean, come on. So can we get some more taps on the screen? But would anybody like to know how they're doing this? It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. It's not about exercising. They weren't even allowed to exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. How? Lisa. Good. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, Lisa, let me come back. And I'll go as fast as I can, I promise, Lisa, but it's not a 2-second answer, okay? Because it's not a diet, it's not a food plan, it's completely different. The researchers who created it had done, Lisa, 100 studies, 40 years on pretty much every diet out there. And they came to the conclusion after 40 years that they never found a diet in 40 years where people lost weight and kept it off. Oh, people lost weight initially. The other thing, when they did the measurements, they found that 25 to 40% of the weight that people lose on any diet, and they studied them all, was lean muscle mass, which resulted in slowing down metabolism, and that's the reason people gained all their weight back. But there's another factor that these diets do to make you unhealthy, Lisa. When you lose lean muscle mass, it slows down your your immune system. So the researchers said we got to do something different, and they based it on this principle. We're going to go find foods where we can give you less quantity of the food, but the foods have really high levels of nutrition. Because at the end of the day, Lisa, your body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. It doesn't give a darn about a calorie. It only cares about nutrition. So the researchers went and found foods that you'd actually buy at your grocery store, because you don't buy any. There's no products here, Lisa. So the researchers don't have any products. We don't sell any products. You're either buying 30% of the food from your grocery store, but here's what made it work. These researchers found other researchers gone around the world for 20 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts of food. So let's review. 30% of what you would consume, you get a grocery list, you'd go to the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, Lisa, they give you serving sizes. Very important. Don't worry about the serving size, because your satisfaction of hunger is not based on calories or how much food's in there. It's about how much nutrition is in the foods, okay? Now, the other 70% is what made it work. Like I said, came from these exotic foods around the world. So now they had the foods that we're going to give people. Then they created 2 new ways of eating. Yeah, 2 new ways. One way, but 2 different patterns. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these, what's the research called the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint, which is the only thing your body cares about. Okay? I mean, obviously you want to have it to taste good, and it still does taste good. Okay, so those foods, that's what I have for breakfast this morning. Then you'd have a lunch from the grocery store, a dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal, Lisa, after dinner, these world's most perfect meals. So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day, that's called protein pacing, okay? 2 days a week, you do something that'll sound really out there, but it's not. It's intermittent nutritional fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world, but this time you'd be eating, and she did, 8 times a day. She was eating about every hour and a half to 2 hours over the course of 12 to 16 hours. Well, what happened shocked these researchers who created this, because it was a theory. They didn't know if it was going to work. Diabetics, no one had an insulin spike. People that weighed 300 pounds were not hungry. So it had nothing to do with the amount of food you were consuming. It had to do everything with the amount of nutrition you were getting. And in a month's time, they proved hunger, Lisa, came down 41% in a month. Do you know most women on this, Lisa, lose a whole dress size in 7 days and no one was allowed to exercise? They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. My God, look at her stomach and look at the change day 1 to day 30. She's shrinking. I'm going to explain to you why. Because the second thing they did, which makes this revolutionary, it's a detox. They measured through blood, stool, urine, and fat. This protocol, first thing it was doing was removing chemicals from the body. And as a result, those fat cells, see, Lisa and all of you, we're storing chemicals inside our fat cells. That's why you complain, even if you have 10 or 15 or 20 pounds, about how much fat you have. Well, you haven't grown more fat, but your fat cells have expanded, storing the chemicals. So if you can remove the chemical, the fat cell shrinks. See, you don't burn fat on any diet or exercise program. That's a complete lie. You're born with a certain amount of fat cells, you die with a certain amount of fat cells, and in between they can expand or contract. Look at her. There's your proof. Look at how much they contracted. But it didn't just end there. These people have been able to maintain their weight loss for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, Lisa, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Do you all understand? I'm not making anything up. This is all based. Look, this new protocol called R2M, it's called R2M, or it's actually called protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. That protocol got published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world because this was what's called a peer-reviewed human trial study, meaning done on human beings, and then scrutinized. The peer review is the scrutiny part. The researchers submit their research, and the journal, if they decide to publish it, they don't analyze it. They send it out to independent third-party medical doctors, researchers. Because obviously, if the journal, if they scrutinized it, you'd think, well, because they get paid to do the studies, right? The journals do. So it's really important that you find out that this is the real deal. Absolutely, you can exercise. Absolutely, 1,000,000% you can exercise. So, Cindy, wonderful question. Thanks for that question. Cindy, the only reason they didn't want them to exercise was one simple thing. Had she exercised, they would have never known, was it this protocol or was it diet and exercise? Does that make sense, Cindy? That's why they didn't have them exercise. Yeah, and someone's, yeah, Dan, thank you very much. So, Cindy, does that make sense? Cindy, I'm going to show you someone who exercised, okay? Is that okay, Cindy? Because I want to show you what happens if you do exercise, right? So this gentleman, when you see this, you're going to blow your mind. He lost 50 pounds in 4 months, but look at the change in his body shape, composition, and muscles. Because he really lost more weight than that, but he put on lean muscle. But look at that transformation. That's in 4 months. 4 months. So, Cindy, I would say maybe you'd be pretty motivated to exercise. What would you say? Now, let me show you another one. Now this one is this is a surfer who lives in Costa Rica, who was, look at day one, actually really pretty good shape. And I know for a fact that he was working out between 5 and 7 days a week. So the only thing he changed was going on this protocol, obviously not to lose weight, but to see if he could gain lean muscle, etc. So look at day one, the abdomen area. Not bad. But 4 days later, because when it says day 5, that's the morning of day 5. It's not even 5 days yet. Look at the change already starting to happen in the stomach area. And then, Cindy, look at morning of day 12, 11 days in. Look at that, Cindy. So do you think exercise works with this? Like I said, the only reason they eliminated exercise, they didn't want it to be a factor. And that's why also, you can see right there, the New Health Conversation, that's the free medical website you can go to, and you get a free coach that'll go over the exercise, because probably the exercise intensity and things, you probably want to change that up a little bit to get the most out of this. Cindy, oh, you're going unbelievable. Now, Cindy, so everybody can accuse me that's a different man, or somebody, a bodybuilder was on the other day, oh, it's the lighting. Really? Really? Because I kind of know this person, Cindy. That's my youngest son. He's 43 years old. He lives in Costa Rica with his beautiful wife and my grandson. And he surfs at least twice a day, works out 7 days a week, and he actually trains coaches to help you to do this. He's the coach of coaches. Obviously, he didn't do it to lose weight. I mean, is that just unbelievable? I know you said unbelievable, Cindy. But Cindy and all of you, are you a little bit curious now? And Lisa, are you curious to go to the website? And let me just show all of you so you don't think there's any tricks. Type in Google or your search engine, the New Health Conversation, like you're doing right there. Well, the computer's doing it for me. That's cool, right? Go to the New Health Conversation right there. There's the website. There's nothing to buy. As a matter of fact, number one is an exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the entire world. Look, number three, the actual medical studies. You get to go see them. And number four, you can't quite see it. They're before and afters. You'll see people that lost 100 pounds, no loose skin. Yep. Well, look at April. I mean, shouldn't she have loose skin, losing 60 pounds in 3 months? Oh my God, that's got to be really unhealthy. No, actually it wasn't. Because when they measured, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So some of these numbers, when you see 60 pounds, she actually lost more weight than that, but put back on lean muscle, which is what we all want to do. We don't want to, every diet out there, Lisa, I was explaining, 25 to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle mass. That is not what you want to have happen if you want to be really healthy and boost your immune system and have more energy. Do you know what's interesting, Lisa, on this, and Cindy? Despite these unbelievable amounts of weight loss, you know what well, first of all, there's an expression now. They say, just give us 4 days. Because most people on this, if you need to lose weight, imagine, Cindy, in 4 days, you'll lose as much weight as in a month, as in 4 weeks. But that's not the main thing they typically say. In just 4 days, they're going, I can't believe the way I feel. Because you've never gotten this amount of nutrition into your body before. Because even if you try to do it with organic food, or organic food is so compromised nutritionally, you'd have to eat so much to have that impact, you'd weigh 500 pounds. It's about the amount of nutrition that you can get into your body in the least amount of food. That's what they did. Does that make sense? Lisa, are you cool now? You understand what they did? Did I do a good enough explanation of explaining it to you? But if not, Lisa, once you go to the website, we won't contact you, Lisa or Cindy, but the coaching's free. You scroll down, you get a free coach, they'll answer all your questions because we don't know anything about you. You want to gain, listen, Lisa and Cindy, we have kids as young as 2 doing this. Actually, my grandson started on part of this when he was 14 months. As soon as his mom stopped breastfeeding, my son put him on part of the protocol. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people, no thyroids, Hashimoto's. I mean, you name it, hyperthyroid. We have a man with a heart transplant. We have people with kidney transplant. We have people with no gallbladders. But do you know how hard it is to lose weight with no thyroid? Yeah. They're doing fantastic because it's not a diet. This is not based on deprivation. It's based on abundance. It's based on nutritional efficiency, really. That's an even better way to describe it to you. Because you've got to understand, the higher the nutrient, the more easily the body can use that to run your organs. Do you know when you consume fast food, it actually causes an immune system reaction in your body? Did all of you know that? So those French fries are not doing quite what you... I love French fries. I'm not going to knock French fries because, I mean, it's great. But you have to understand that we're doing so many things to us. I mean, the United States is now four times, we're spending 4 times as much on healthcare as the rest of the world, and yet we have about the 100th outcome. The Japanese now have a 10-year longer lifespan than we do. We're the laughing stock of the world. We're the most overfed and undernourished society in the world. These researchers knew that, and that's why, Lisa, great. And you're clear on the website, Lisa, because some people say they have trouble reading it. They're in blue, the New Health Conversation. And understand, please, Lisa, we're not going to contact you. So don't think you're going to go there and you're going to get a phone call. We don't do that. Lisa, we're totally transparent. We want you to be comfortable to go and look at the medical proof. And then and only then you scroll down and get a coach. See, we're different than anybody else. We're not requiring to get a coach and then they'll show you the information. We've laid the information out in a way that it's in layman's terms. Everybody can understand it. Well, the interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, Lisa, wouldn't you be interested in what he has to say? Because he said in the interview or in the podcast, they'll never recommend it to their patients, and they're the top weight loss people in the world. They'll never recommend to any patient ever again a traditional diet. They said it would be unethical. They said, why would you have people go on a diet for 8 weeks to lose 25 to 40% of their lean muscle mass when they can lose that much weight in a week on this? I mean, you realize that, like Kristen here, the weight she lost in a month in the big medical studies where they looked at 48 random trials, 7,286 people across all the diets. In 12 months, the average weight loss on all these diets was about 16 pounds, and she loses 21 pounds in a month. I know you're all skeptical, but again, can I say it one more time? Are you willing to take the chance to let your skepticism guide you? I'm not saying you can't and shouldn't be skeptical, but if this is real, how could you not be curious? And the fact it's real, how would you do a traditional diet instead of this? I've gone over it and over it today. The researchers have said that on like this, people of this macro counting, in 3 to 6 months, people lose 4 to 10 pounds. In 3 to 6 months, so we're being generous. And she lost 21 pounds. She lost as much in a week as they're losing in basically 3 months. Think about that. So do the math. So in a month, that's why. In a month, she lost the kind of weight that takes a year on diets. Pretty simple. Because it took them 6 months to lose 10 pounds, right? So it would take them a year to lose 20 pounds, and she lost 20 pounds in a month. Does this make sense to everybody? So who else? And we're only at 699 likes. Come on, let's get some taps on that screen. This is free medical knowledge that we're sharing with you that could change your lives. Could change your lives. Or not. Or you can go along your merry way and do keto or paleo or Mediterranean or count calories or do any of those things you want to do, none of which work. So who else would like to ask me a question? If you have 5 to 10 pounds, would this still be great? Absolutely, Cindy. Well, again, my son, look at this. I mean, he probably lost 4 or 5 pounds, but look at the muscle mass that he created. The difference here, Cindy, is the main reason for someone like you to do it is detoxification. Did you hear me talk about the TDOS syndrome? I'll just explain it again briefly because there's new people coming on. So this is a new medical syndrome, which is a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, Cindy. T for toxins, D for deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. Yeah, Peter Greenlaw, that's me. I did discover it. I'm not trying to impress you. It's just a fact of life. But we now know that even you, as someone pretty fit, as you breathe and drink and eat, you can't avoid chemicals. If you don't think we're living in a toxic world, I don't know what to tell you. And so as those chemicals enter us, the body takes them and puts them inside our fat cells. And even you, if it's not showing up on the outside, those chemicals are still inside your fat cells. We know it. They did a study, Cindy, on 300 tremendously fit people. They did MRIs on them, and they found around their brain, on breast tissue, prostate, kidney, liver, this white halo, this toxic fat. We all have it. I'm not being disrespectful. It's just that's a fact of life, Lisa. It's not up for debate. If you don't believe me, go and look and type in microplastics in your brain. Because 2 months ago, they came out with a study, proof that we're storing microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Well, obviously, storing plastics in your brain would probably not be great for your cognitive ability or what's called neurogenesis or neuroplasticity, which is basically your brain's ability to reason and do other kinds of, knowledge sort of things like that. Cindy, this is something that is going to change the world. I mean, Cindy, I'll tell you this. Easily, the 10 pounds, probably a couple weeks. But we'd want you to do probably at least a month because you want to get the detox going. And then to maintain it is simple. I'm sorry, no. It was probably one of my statements, and you're saying you're agreeing with me and no, or you're saying yes, that just clarify for me, Cindy. I'm confused. I just want to make sure I give you the right answers. Okay, now we're at 700 likes. Can we get some more likes? Oh. And I don't want you to buy my books, Cindy. As a matter of fact, on the website, let me show you. There's no books. There's nothing on that website for sale. The only thing on there is the medical proof for all of you. And Cindy, I would say this. We've started a movement called the New Health Conversation. You don't have to join anything. There's no membership fees. It's just people that go on this want to help other people. All of our coaches volunteer because they all got coached. We got coached. Because you wouldn't know how are you going to know how to do this? Number one, you need the food list. Number two, you need the exotic foods that you're going to buy. And you buy directly from them, Cindy. And they give you 100% money back in during the first 30 days if it doesn't work. There's nothing like this on social media that I know of, right? So, Cindy, does that all make sense to you? So the main reason you'd want to do this, but also it's the 10 pounds gone forever, but also once you get the maintenance, Cindy, look, here's the point. If you can get the world's most perfect meal in your body once a day, because that's what maintenance is, and then maybe do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast like every couple of months to detox, nothing to do with your weight loss. Why wouldn't you do that? Given the fact that we know that we're storing chemicals in our body. And no diet, no exercise, no sauna has ever proven to remove a gram of toxin from our body. That's the other thing. There's never been a toxin detected in sweat. So working out has nothing to do with detoxing your body. And the difference with this, it's got the medical proof behind it. You see all this stuff on TV now because the national awareness about toxins and things like that is becoming a big deal. I mean, I've been doing this for 23 years. I was screaming about Monsanto and stuff years and years ago. And I'm not telling you to brag about it. It's just like I was just in a position where I met the scientists that were doing this analysis and saying, my God, we're on a collision course with ourselves. I mean, Cindy, what do you think about the fact that John Hopkins is saying a study of obesity apocalypse in 4 years, 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese, and 50% of those people are pre-diabetic, and 50% of our kids now are overweight, and about 25-30% are type 2 diabetics, which 35 years ago, no kid had type 2 diabetes. This thing is just, it's out of control. And Cindy, so you're clear about the website. And remember, if you go there, we're not going to contact you. But also make sure if you do decide to get a coach, write in the chat, which, you only have 5 to 10 pounds to lose, but you'd like to detox or you want more energy or whatever it might be. Okay? That's important. Who else would like to ask me a question? And Cindy, it's not so much my book, it's the syndrome itself. You don't have to buy my book. You can Google TDOS now, TDOS syndrome. It's all over Google. I mean, whatever. You don't have to do that because the coaches will go over all that with you. But your main factor in doing this is number one, detox, and number two, being able to maintain that if it's 10 pounds on the upside for the rest of your life. I mean, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago, and I've kept it off for 23 years. I would hope that would be of real interest to a lot of you. R, Rainbow, R. Oh, good, Cindy. I hope you do. So, Rainbow, I'm just curious. Yeah, wow. Right. Rainbow, R, what did you have a question? Do you want to know how she did this? How they did this? I can tell you this, that it's not a diet, it's not about counting calories, and there was no exercise involved. They weren't even allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits. This is going to change the world. This is going to make every diet, it's not a diet. It's a detox, as I was just talking about. And it's backed, it's published. This study is published now in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. They're peer-reviewed human trial studies. They've done on human beings, not on monkey, mice, rats, monkeys, chimpanzees, whatever. No, human beings. There's no other program in the world with certainly nobody has 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. So Rainbow 5, what? Please, I'm not quite sure. R what? Can you elaborate? I'd love to answer your question if you have one. I'm just curious, everybody. What do you think R means? A-R-E. I have no clue. So I don't want to sound foolish by answering something that she's not even asking me the question. I don't know why people, I wish more of you would comment. Because for me, this is like a classroom. It's like wonderful. Because our only job, we're not here to sell you or convince you. We have nothing to sell. There's no products involved. You're buying food. But only 30% of what you buy is from your grocery store, and you get a grocery list of what those foods need to be. And the other 70% come from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that represent huge amounts of nutrition and very small amounts of food. That was the basis of what she ate. But that was only 50% of the battle. The other 50% of what she did was how she was eating, when she was eating. It's called protein pacing. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list that you would get, dinner from the grocery store list you would get, and a fourth meal after dinner from these exotic, the world's most perfect meals. That's what the researchers call them. 2 days a week, you do something called intermittent nutritional fasting, but not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, she and you, 2 days a week, you're going to eat 8 times a day. You're going to eat every hour and a half to 2 hours. Diabetics on this, no insulin spikes. People weighing 300 pounds, they weren't hungry. And they proved that in a month. People's hunger on this went down 41% in a month. How excited would that be for you? And then blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically. And instead of losing any water weight or any lean muscle, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. How's that sound? Does that make any of you curious? Do any of you want to know more? But if you do want to more, you can go to the website. It's in blue right above our head. When people say, what's the web? There it is, the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there, and we will not contact you. If you go there, we're not going to contact you. But if you like what you see, scroll down and you get a coach, then we'll contact you. But we're only going to contact you if you contact us. I don't know how to be any fairer in terms of what we're doing. Okay, so who else would like to ask me a question? And for a lot of you that are probably perusing, yeah, she dropped 5 pounds a week, counted no calories. No, it's not about a diet. It's not about a traditional diet. It's backed by 10 peer-reviewed studies. It's a miracle. Nope, it's science. This is backed by the highest level of medical scrutiny that you can have in the world, which is a peer-reviewed human trial study. Is it interesting to any of you are curious that all these other influences that I know you're following, okay, they don't show you one shred of medical evidence, not one shred. Why? Aha. Because, see, if you had something that really worked, you'd want a peer-reviewed human trial study. Why? Because once you have a peer-reviewed human trial study in the scientific world, in the medical world, there's no more discussion. It's what's called irrefutable medical proof. And I can speak to it because for 21 of my 23 years, thereabouts, we had before and after pictures, we had great stories, but in the medical world, it meant zero. It wasn't until about, it's almost 2 years now, where these studies, these peer-reviewed human trial studies started to come out. They take a long time. Some of the studies were started in 2012, 13 years ago. They cost a lot of money and they're very intense, huge time commitment. Because, for example, in these studies, they were having people come in, I think, like once a week for blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, and fat and muscle analysis, because they really wanted to make sure medically. You understand, they'd never done anything like this before. The researchers who created it are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They'd done 100 studies over 40 years, and their big conclusion was, to break your all hearts, they could never find a diet where people were ever able to lose weight and keep it off. And 2/3 of people ended up gaining more than they lost. Let me repeat that. 2/3 of the people on any diet they studied gained back more weight than they lost. And the sad part was that 25 to 40% of the weight people were losing on any diet was lean muscle mass. When you lose lean muscle, it slows your metabolism down. That's why you plateau. That's why you are plateauing. And I don't want to scare you, but 2/3 are going to weigh more than when you started. We've lost the battle on obesity. It's out of control. Johns Hopkins Medical School is now saying that by 2048, in 23 years, that 100% of America will be overweight or obese in 20. Now, this is one of the top medical, because right now now they're saying in 4 years, but almost 86% of us will be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. honestly, does anybody want to argue that point that you think diets work? They don't. That's why the researchers abandoned studying calories in, calories out traditional diets. They looked at pretty much all of them over 40 years. I would hope so. And they kept analyzing diets because they kept thinking, well, one of them will work, one of them will work, one of them will work. Never, ever did they see a diet where people lost weight and kept it off long term. So who else would like to ask me a question? It looks like we're stalling out here. We're at 742 likes. Can we get some more taps for some of the people? There's only 2 people left, I guess. So it's a one-man band. But anyway, would any of you that are still on here or just coming on now, would you like to know how in the world did she do this? 21 pounds, 38 inches in just 30 days. I'd love for someone to ask me. I'm here. It's live. It's not pre-recorded. It's not a podcast. I mean, it's a podcast. It's not an infomercial. I'm a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books, some of the biggest medical doctors in the world, and did 20 shows on PBS and 1,500 live lectures in universities and hospitals and towns around the world. It's not even my research, but we're bringing you the research. You see in blue above her head there, the New Health Conversation. 1 viewers that didn't log in. Okay, so somebody didn't log in. Well, I don't know who that is. It doesn't matter. So again, who would like to ask me a question before I close this out? Because I've now been an hour and 20 minutes. My voice is getting a little scratchy. I need to take a rest and drink some water. So it's now 2:06 in Eastern Standard Time. I'll probably come back on in about an hour, let's say at 3 o'clock, about approximately 3 o'clock. Okay? I guess no more questions. Okay, everybody, I'm going to go and rest my voice. Thank you all for being here today.